It's a totally inhumane idea. Because the ramifications and the potential for disaster and lives lost, is enormous. But it's also a complete transgression of maritime law that's been in force forever. That a vessel must go to the aid of somebody in peril on the sea, and that goes against it. So Priti Patel is talking to lawyers to see how we can slide past this, which is absolutely repellent. I understand it is a very big problem. It is a huge problem. The problem is that Priti Patel has not somehow, with her dynamic personality and her wonderful charm and warmth, managed to woo her French counterpart into cooperating. And so she's getting more and more desperate to keep her job, but more and more desperate to try and, not a carrot, but a stick. I mean, we've paid the French 54 million, or paying 54 million. We paid them millions last year. And we've offered them a plane and they've turned that down. What the problem is at the other end is that they've got 300 to 400 kilometres of coastline to patrol.
Yeah.
They can't use drones because that goes against the French privacy laws. They can't use a plane in darkness, and many of these come across by night. And so...
well, in that case, Sherelle, then turn them back. That's where you end up, isn't it?
Yeah, I mean, I don't agree that it's inhumane. I think, and nor that the lawyers are looking for ways to slide past it.
They are.
Well, no, they've already. It's already clear that they're only going to implement it in safe and limited conditions. I think it's one of these things where there's going to be a lot of rhetoric, but actually, the tactics are only going to be employed in very specific.
You won't be able to turn them back. But if they're in a dinghy, it's not safe to prolong their journey. So it's that crowd there, for example. I don't think they're going to do anything other than help them, are they? Really? Because what if they turn them back and they all died? It'd be terrible. But in the end, surely, Nina, they've got to do something. You can't have 13,000 people coming here illegally in a year.
They have to do something. And the trouble is, I mean, well, why don't we get Boris to ring up his friend Emmanuel Macron and put some pressure on? Well, the thing is that Macron loathes Boris, as do most of the European leaders. This is something that should have been sorted out in the glorious Brexit.
I think it's strange to blame the French to blame the English in this instance. The fact is that the French are very stubbornly interpreting. It's still early in the morning. Interpreting maritime law. So they are interpreting their own law, saying that French law says it's not illegal to be at sea, which is actually I find quite belligerent, and actually it would be in line with international maritime law to intervene, actually.
Well, hang on. We've got to read the room here, right? If all these migrants were coming through the UK and going to Ireland, we would pretend to stop them, but we'd let them go. That's what we would do, because we want them to move on and be somebody else's problem. So that's all France are doing. They're doing, in their own self-interest, they're saying, oh, we can't put a drone up there because we're not allowed to film people. We can't put a plane out. The idea you can't fly planes at night, it hasn't been true since the 1920s. So they can't fly a plane at night, they can't put a drone in it, but we know what they're doing. Please understand, it's not their problem, right?
No. I mean, they don't want them on French soil.
They don't.
So, of course, they're going to be... But if we had... I mean, the Times leader today said that in the spirit of neighbourliness within Europe, then we should appeal to the French in that way. Well, there's no neighbourliness. We are the ones who've left Europe. We're the ones who have... failed to make some kind of a deal that would have
well, in that case you turn their boats back. That's the logic of it.
You cannot. It goes against international maritime law. You cannot do it.
Sherelle, if we did turn them back, we know that within a few weeks there would be some sort of tragedy, wouldn't there? A child would die, a family would die.
We don't know that, and we don't know yet the circumstances in which they're going to implement it. But the fact is that people die all the time from attempting this crossing, in underpowered vessels, which are run by gangs who actually use unsafe boats as decoys and then have these first-class high-speed boats going. It's just absolutely dire what is happening. And you've actually, to save lives, you've got to find a way to deter people from doing it in the first place.
Before you come